right. Episode 5. Episode 5. We're sure about that this time.
Yes.
Okay. Welcome to Ransom Notes, Episode 5. Today, we're not just going to focus on one topic. I'm going to read through a list of questions to Davis, and we're going to do a rapid-fire response here. Hopefully, we'll keep this under 10 minutes. I'm imagining it'll be a lot less than that, but let's get going. And I just want you to say the first thing that comes to mind. Try to keep the answers within 30 seconds to a minute, please.
Batman.
Batman. Okay. How do you make yourself most appealing on an offer if you don't have unlimited funds?
So removal of contingencies or tightening up those days.
Which contingencies would you suggest removing if you were going to remove one completely?
Appraisal. That would be the first one. I would never say inspection unless you were going to tear that house to the ground.
Okay. Because, I've removed inspection contingencies before, but it's just under the assumption that they're going to force you to take the home as is anyway.
So I just did one on a condo because really, there's not much. Well, we didn't actually remove it. We just didn't do the inspection. We just went up and we didn't hire an inspector because we're like, it's a condo, certain things are covered by the HOA anyway. So I guess it depends how confident you are in that property with the limited. You got to think you might have only seen that house once.
Yeah, that is what happened. I saw it once, and the buyers actually didn't see it at all. They were just kind of in a situation where they had to purchase. This was the only condo that fit the criteria, so we needed to make the offer as sexy as possible. So we removed inspection, the first and only one I've ever done that on.
And you can tighten them up too. So rather than going 17 days, you can bring it down to 5 or 10, and that makes you a better, stronger offer.
Yeah.
Without adding more funds. And then lastly, it all depends on your agent's relationship with the other agent.
I was waiting for you to say that. I think that is the number one most important thing.
But that's something out of your control.
No, it actually is a lot of that person's control and who they select.
But you don't know their actual relationship with them. But if you're using an out-of-area agent, you can guarantee they don't have a relationship with anyone.
Or a brother or sister or cousin or someone who has a real estate license. And I get it, you want to help family or friends out, but at the end of the day, if you're in this type of market when you're trying to buy that house, it's unlikely. Because there's going to be 3 or 4 agents every single time, where if you have a local listing agent on the property, they're going to want to work with someone they've worked with before and had a good experience with.
Yeah, work with an agent that works that area.
Yeah.
That's your best.
Oh, you're going to piss off a lot of people.
I don't care.
You're speaking truth, so.
Next question.
Why are so many Californians moving to small states like Idaho?
I think the work from home is changing people's perspective. They're now living where they want to live rather than where they have to live. So if you had to commute and you're like, okay, I'm not commuting more than half an hour, so I have to live within half an hour of work. Now they're like, well, I work from home, so why don't I live somewhere else?
Do you believe that right now?
Do I believe they're moving to Idaho?
Because it's more preferable than California, and that's where they wanted to live?
No, I don't think Idaho is more...
Just say what everyone's thinking.
Price.
California sucks right now.
Hey, I moved away and I came back and I'm not leaving.
Yeah, okay, let me take that back. California itself and what it has to offer is literally just a geographical location. Fucking amazing. But the people here... I'm not saying people in Huntington Beach or people in California, everybody sucks, but... Maybe this is as deep as we should go on this question.
Yeah, next question.
How do overseas citizens get a house in the States, and what are the factors to take into account?
There's a ton of factors. You should talk to an immigration lawyer if you're planning on living here. But lending is really challenging.
Yeah.
Using overseas funds, a lot of lenders won't count certain things. Some won't even do loans.
Yeah, so that's what happened with the Shore House development.
We
kind of got set back because the funds were in another country, and it was the loan that caused issues and the delays.
I think loans will be your biggest setback, and then there's immigration rules. So if you're planning on being here, you might not be allowed to be here for a certain amount of time a year.
Yeah. Well, that's a good question for you because you're from Canada originally, right? Your parents are they primary residents people?
Here. So I was born here, but I have dual citizenship. So I've spent a lot of time there. I've lived there, worked there, and then came back.
Now, how does that factor into it? Is your parents are purchasing a condo in Mammoth? Are they dual citizens as well?
Yeah.
So if they were just Canadian citizens, do you know what kind of criteria they'd have to meet in order to purchase something here?
It would depend. Like,
it depends on the country you're coming from, right?
Before they were citizens, they were permanent residents, so it didn't really matter. They were allowed, immigration-wise, they were allowed to be here for as long as they want.
Okay.
So,
But is that just our agreement with Canada?
No, that was their status. They had a green card.
Oh, okay.
Which is not green, by the way.
No.
I think it's pink.
Is that just green for go?
I guess.
You're allowed to go for it. All right, next question. How big is your, and that's all it says. I'm going to guess.
House? Mine's not that big.
I was thinking they were probably in,
Yard.
I think, commission. Like, how big's your average commission? And what goes into that? Where's your value as an agent? Why shouldn't people use Redfin? That's how I'm going to structure this question, which I'm pretty sure that's what this person meant.
So I wouldn't use a discount brokerage for a simple reason is they are salary employees. They don't really care. They're just volume. They just want to turn and burn. They don't have the relationships with other agents, and they don't have...
They do. They're just really bad relationships. Like, I have relationships with Redfin agents. I just hate each other.
Yeah, so...
And it's more so me hating them.
And they don't...
I'm not going to get into it.
So with their commission structure, they don't really have an incentive to sell your house for more money or get you a good deal on a house because it doesn't affect them.
Yeah.
They're just working for a paycheck. I find typically the discounted brokerages, I don't want to say they're lazy, but they don't put in the same effort as someone.
They're clocking into a 9 to 5. They're not hustling to make the amount of money that they need to make or want to make.
Yeah, and it's hard to live. Like, like with commission, like I don't know when my next paycheck's coming in.
Yeah.
They do, so they don't have to hustle for it.
Yeah. Yeah, I have no idea.
So
we live in a state of constant anxiety.
You get a different caliber agent, right? You don't get someone that's willing to go out there and make sure it happens. You just get someone that's like, oh, okay, yeah, I can push this paper through for you.
I think it's a really good point. The type of personality for who's going to be a discount broker that's going and getting paid a base salary with small bonuses is going to be a different type of person than the person out there working their ass off.
Yeah. And
earning every cent that they get.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Well, let's see. It's the last one, and we'll end on this. It just says down payments.
Should we talk about going back to the first question, making your offer strong without a ton of money?
Yeah.
Higher down payment.
So that's actually why we removed the inspection, disclosure, and appraisal contingency from our offer. It's because we were doing a VA loan. And so I was competing. And so for the record, yes, I entered an escrow and beat out 11 other offers with a VA loan in Huntington Beach.
That's impossible.
The word itself says I'm possible, Davis.
Yeah,
and
VA
I'm the
loans,
kind of guy that I dream about beating up now. So
VA loans are challenging. I would say put as much down as you're comfortable with.
Mm-hmm.
Not going to bring your payments down long term with 30-year mortgage. No one knows what the future is going to hold, so you less payment. I don't like a ton of debt personally, so if you can put 30% down. I had one this year that he put 30% down and didn't need an appraisal. Yeah. So we could waive appraisal contingencies right with our offer and knowing that we were never going to get one. So I was like, this is perfect. We have a stronger offer and we don't need it. We're not risking that appraisal. It was waived by the lender.
Yeah. Well, average price point now from what we just looked up is $944,000 in Huntington. So when you're taking like that median price point, average price point, and it's almost $1 million, I mean, I don't think a lot of people have $300,000 to put down. At least not if they're buying their first, second, or third home.
No.
I take that back. First home.
Yeah. Most people, like when you have that kind of money, it's equity if they've pulled out of another property.
Yeah. Which is the only way I've saved up enough to probably put 30% down on the next property.
Yeah.
Before that, I did not have 30%.
Yeah.
I don't think most people do. So let's just say you're capped at 10%. What are your options at that point?
Work with a good agent that has good relationships with other agents, because 10% does not give you a lot of leeway. If it doesn't appraise, you come up with more cash. And if you're already struggling to put that 10% down, it's not going to work.
Yeah.
So I guess my advice for that person, it depends on your price range. Like right now, the properties that are getting bid up, know that they're getting bid up. So don't look at your max. Look a little below so you can be competitive.
Right, that's smart.
Did we answer that question?
I think so. I was going to throw in one more thing. It's a little controversial. I'll say it real quick because we're out of time. If you have stocks, if you have equity in other places, 401ks, no, you're not going to liquidate that and put that down. But if you can show the funds and you are able to liquidate it, I would write down the max down payment that you could put on an offer, knowing that you can actually follow through and fund in case if you try to drop down, because what's in the contract is not what needs to essentially happen on the loan side. Like there's probably people that have every intention of putting 30% down, but then when they go and all the loan documents are in hand and they're looking through going, okay, this leaves me with almost no reserves. I'm going to want to keep some cash down. Can we adjust that?
Yeah.
And they do. And so I would say use your own discretion and maybe hit it at that angle. But you have to be very, very careful. It's a very gray area. And I do want to say it's disclosure. I'm not recommending anybody do that because at the end of the day, it does depend on your intentions, and you have to be forthright and honest with the listing agent, the sellers, if you're the buyer doing something like this, just to make sure. Of course, we're in California.
Well, I'm
liabilities everywhere, so you just want to make sure you cross your T's.
I'm not a tax or an investment person, so also get some advice from whoever you use for that stuff.
True. All right. Well, I hope we answered some of your questions for those of you that wrote us today. Thank you. Keep them coming. We'll put up another one
next week.
Have a great, I know it's Monday, but this is going out Wednesday. Have a great Wednesday. Feels weird.
Yeah, have a good week.
All right. Have a good week.
Thanks for having me.
Bye.